What up, though? Welcome back to Woodward Heavyweights. I'm your boy Easy. Join my guy Spin More Racks,
What up,
young
though?
Chris, and the legendary Detroit lineman Herman Moore in the building. What up, though, Herm?
Hey, what up?
How you been? I saw you take a bunch of pictures, sign a bunch of autographs at the game yesterday. Did you get a chance to catch a bunch of it?
Oh yeah. I was there. I was able to catch a little bit of it, and I was out showing love with the fans like I always do. But I was catching it on the monitors, man, and just at first, man, I was worried. I was like everybody else, man. I was like, nah, this can't be it, because I was hearing all week that there was going to be this letdown game, and I'm like, nah, not with this squad.
What was your reaction to the J-Mo touchdown? Because you've been holding it out for him all year. Everyone's been hating on him. You've been the one guy to be patient, let him get the work in, and now he's finally rewarded again in a big-time touchdown. How you feel? What was your reaction to that one?
So what I did, man, I went back and I looked at all his college film, and I did. I spent some time, and I said, you know what? He came in, he was injured. He didn't have that transitional year where he could go straight from having that full first year. So he's a little bit behind the curve. But I'm going to tell you this, man, and I tell everyone to give this young man a break, because, yeah, he had all the other stuff going on, and there was, the injury, there was all this other stuff with the suspensions. But he's still a good talent. Would I like to see him with more size in the NFL? I think that'll come in time. But to see just his tenacity, let's give the dude some credit, man. If you go look at all the film, you go look at the long runs when he's out there, dude is blocking down film and downfield. And what he doesn't mind is mixing it up. And I knew right then and there that at least I know his mind's right, his head's on right, because he hasn't checked out. He's not getting the touches. Yeah, he was getting frustrated his first year and some of the other things, but it was good to see him get in the mix. And I think he's going to be an important piece as they go down the stretch, because if you look at the way he comes off the ball when they stack a receiver behind him, the defensive secondary are paying attention, and they don't want this dude getting behind him, because he gets up on the safety so fast. He creates that distance and that opening that you need. So he's doing some things even when he's not touching the ball. So you got to look at his complete game. And right now, the only thing we now need is for him to touch more passes.
That's 100%. I loved what I saw out of him. He took the top off of the defense, and that opened up so much more for the offense going forward throughout the game. And I want to get your thoughts, like a peer behind the helmet, of what it takes for an offense to do what the Lions did in that game, to shrug off, 3 interceptions by your leader, Jared Goff, to go through on those last 2 drives, take the ball down the field, and win the game. What goes through the thought process of an offense going into a situation like that?
Well, if you look at it, statistically speaking, you shouldn't be able to overcome a 3 interception deal. You shouldn't be able to come over that many those many turnovers. But they weren't the capitalization by the opponent wasn't there, which could have made this game drastically different. You go in, you adjust. They still didn't get much going like they needed to in that first half, and then you come back in the second half, and all of a sudden, this is a different team. Defensively, they start to find their rhythm and stride. And the fact that they stuck it out all the way through the end, and it took them coming down to that final drive to be able to get it done, tells you that the team, it doesn't check out, it doesn't quit. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot in having leadership and a quarterback like Jared Goff to make sure that they don't go off the rail. And then also the players just to kind of settle in and settle down. The coaching staff can only do so much now. I'm sure the coaches on the sideline were like, hey, everyone, we need to settle down. We need to get back into playing like we know how to play discipline, play mistake-free football. But it's easier said than done. The players have to step up and do it. So on this one, I go, this isn't a Dan Campbell thing. On that one, that is a players responding to adversity. And I think this team has come a long way in just a short period of time.
Now, Herman, you've obviously done fantastic things in your career. You've been All-Pro multiple times, but you never had like the best quarterbacks or quarterbacks people would put in that elite category. What is it like as a wide receiver, in the huddle, listen to your quarterback repeat these plays back to you after having a rough game like Jared Goff had out there to begin the day?
It's important that you have a quarterback. For me, I had quarterbacks, and I think I had some guys who had talent, but they just never had the longevity. They weren't able to hold the position down for that 3, 4, 5 years. So the most I played with was Scott Mitchell for 2 years as a starter. And to his credit, Scott was a lot better than most people realize. He made some errors. He made some mistakes at critical times that some would see as being costly. But all quarterbacks do. They throw the ball a lot. But I will say this. Jared Goff was able to go in, and he has now become the commander. I talked about this a couple years ago when he came in. I said, listen, this offense won't go until he commands it, and then the team respects it and builds it around it. And then from there, you have to have playmakers. Then when you get to playmakers, there's a dependency of those guys to go out and be special every single Sunday, every single game. And that's what this team has built into. And the line has been solid all the way through, if you look at it. And now everything's kind of culminated, and it's come to this moment in time. But for Jared Goff, I think he's audibling out of a lot of the plays that he doesn't like. He's been given the permission and the ability to check out of certain situations that don't look well. But, I still want to see how they respond when you have a lot of pressure. And the biggest concern I will say on this, guys, I see, I'm a little concerned about the defense, as I'm sure a lot of people are, because we saw this against the Ravens. If the Lions offense can't match the points that are given up by the defense, then it creates a big problem. It becomes a thing they can't get over. So that's one thing to continue to watch. But outside of that, I mean, hey, that was a heck of a win, man. That was a hell of a comeback by this team.
It was a crazy game. And speaking of quarterbacks you played with, today it was leaked out there that once upon a time, before Joe Montana went to the Chiefs, I believe it was, he actually wanted to come play in Detroit with you guys back in 1993. I don't know if you heard that yet, but what is your response to that news?
My God, I didn't know that. I always tell people, and I would never disrespect. Let me tell you this, guys, and I got to be very clear on this. I would never disrespect a teammate and say, hey, I wish I had this guy versus that guy. I've seen players who have left one quarterback situation where they were top all-pro guys and they go play with a different quarterback that was considered, an elite quarterback, and they don't have the same success. It's all about chemistry. And that's what you're seeing. If Amon-Ra St. Brown and some of those other receivers leave and go play with other quarterbacks, they're not guaranteed the same chemistry. So if Joe Montana would have came over, that would have been nice. But I will tell you this real quick, and this is a nice little trivia. I like to give this out to people. So when I was picked in 1991, here's the order of the teams that I was selected. So if the Lions didn't pick me, first I was on the line with Denver at number 4. People don't realize that. They picked Mike Kroll, the linebacker, with number 4. Otherwise, I'd have been there with Elway. Then at the 10th pick, the Lions selected me. But if they wouldn't have picked me, Dallas was already on the line to pick me to go out play with the Cowboys and Aikman. If they wouldn't have picked me, I would have gone to Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh wouldn't have picked me, I would have gone to Miami and Marino. So I'm happy to have been a Detroit Lion, and that's a nice trivia piece that people may or may not know, because I knew the board, because I knew all the teams that were calling, who were letting me know they were going to take me with that first pick. But, hey, go Lions.
That's what it's all about. We're certainly happy the Lions picked you, and you had a fantastic career here. And speaking of, former teammates and not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings, David Montgomery just went out there against his former teammates in Chicago, and we know that game meant more to him. He hurt some feelings. He got that win, got the game-sealing touchdown. How much does that mean for a player to go out there and get a win, especially a dramatic win like that against the team you just left?
That's like the icing on the cake, because when you leave, there is an animosity, not towards your teammates, but towards the organization, because somebody just fired you, right? They let you go. They told you weren't good enough to be somewhere else, but then you go out and you put that wool on them, like I like to say, and by doing that, he went out, he put a little bit of that what up dough on him, and they went and they did their thing, man. The combination, I told people this too when Jamal Williams left. They say he's taking all those points. He definitely benefited from the fact that he was the goal line guy. But now when you have two backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield, you got a 1-2 combination like we had with Swift and we had with Jamal Williams. These guys have really taken up that mantle, and they've given them a little bit even more, because I think they're more in sync with the offense. They fit really the chemistry of this team a little bit better, and they're a little bit more dynamic on their own. So I think all teams won in the trades and in the swapping out of the running backs. And right now, man, they're looking like beasts out there in the backfield.
Herman, I've noticed throughout the season, Detroit Lions have been dominating these teams that are below 500. And then when they go against the guys like the Ravens or the Chargers, obviously they're looking worse than they were beforehand. But these elite quarterbacks, it's not been the same. So I haven't really got the feel of what the Detroit Lions are as true contenders. But after a comeback like yesterday, that truly takes something special as a team to do. Did yesterday's performance change your mind of what the Detroit Lions are come playoff time?
It doesn't change my mind, because I still think there's some issues they have to address. Let's be fair and let's be smart in what we say. Dan Campbell, he's excited because he knew that this was a game based on the like I said before, you give up that many turnovers, you play as poorly as they played in the first half. Statistically, you shouldn't win a football game like that. So Chicago's got to figure that piece out. But for Detroit, I think they're still getting exposed with quarterbacks who have the escapability in the pocket. The pass rush isn't as effective. They have to be able to stop people in the secondary, and really, you look at impact plays. They can't give up deep passes. You can't allow teams like we saw yesterday to really control them, running control plays offensively. And when you play with tempo, it seems to really affect that defense. They don't rotate as much. They seem to be on their heels a lot more, and it negates a lot of their pass rush. So when I'm looking at this team, I think with more athletic teams that come out and blitz their offense defensively, like we see with the Ravens. And if you look at that Cincinnati and the Ravens games, they're going to have problems unless they figure out how to check out of that and not be forced into some crazy stuff.
That's for sure. And looking at this offense for the Lions, it was just another day at the office for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goes out there, 8 catches, 70-plus yards, a touchdown. With J-Mo starting to get in there, do you think that 1-2 punch can be similar to what you had with Johnny Morton, what the Lions of past years had with obviously Calvin Johnson, Nate Burleson, Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate? Can that 1-2 punch of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams be just as deadly for this offense going forward?
It can be, but let's not leave out Sam Laporta. I think combining that with not only the running backs out of the backfield, but the fact that you have a tight end that's showing that he's got really good hands, he's able to find those seams in the defense, and you start to get a combination or a duo that can go out and be impactful. You look at most of the teams that are really good at passing the football, they have a duo. They have 2 guys that can go out, and you just can't cover both unless you're going to commit 3 to 4 players. If they get to that level, they're going to be on fire in the passing game even more beyond what we've seen, and it'll be like stealing. They'll be stealing candy from a baby, man, on Halloween. I know that when I look at the secondary that they're going to be facing, we'll start to see a little bit more man coverage. I think they'll start to play a little bit more combination coverages and bait these guys a little bit more into some of those throws after I saw yesterday with Jared Goff. But I really like what's happening with J-Mo. I think he's coming along, and I'm telling you, I asked everyone to just kind of give him a little bit of a pass and the pressure they put on him, and just look at what he's doing when he doesn't have the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the snap count keeps going up each week, too. I think he's just really getting the rhythm of everything. And shout out to our guy, Chris. I haven't taken the nameplate off here because you're wearing some merch today. I sure haven't seen before yet. What is that?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I tell you, man, just like everybody else, I just keep drinking. You know what I mean? So I got my little Detroit Prey truck. That's y'all don't know about that. We got our little D truck. We represent a little bit of that deep pizza that we have there, deep dish pizza. And then also, I'm always gonna be drinking it. Come on now.
And,
so they can always get some of the swag. We're gonna be pumping them out every week. And again, man, it's just to show some love to the fans, show some love to the people, man, that's out here holding it down for this team. And then, like myself as an alum, I have businesses that can create this kind of stuff. So I want to go out there and continue to be doing my part and making sure we continue to be proud and loud. So I appreciate you guys always showing love with me and showing that, we can come out here and pump a little bit of this. I got to get some sizes. So I got to make sure y'all get a lot of this gear too.
Okay.
You got to be fresh out there in the streets. Y'all representing the D.
Hell yeah. That's what it's all about. We appreciate you for joining us again.
Yeah, it's hermanandlow.com, and the promo code Woodward84 I think is 15% off today, right?
Yep. Go ahead and get them while they hot. It's still steaming. If it's cold outside, once you put it on, you still hot and fly because it's still hot off the press.
That's what it's all about. We need the people rocking them for Thanksgiving, man. We got the Packers coming into town. It's gonna be another big game there in Ford Field.
Oh, yeah. We got to take care of business. And I always tell people, I love Green Bay Packers. I love the Chicago Bears. They gave me more touchdowns than anybody. So there you go. Number love.
That's what it's all about. Herman, we appreciate you so much for joining us again. We look forward to speaking with you. And, hopefully the Lions can get this dub on Thanksgiving, have everybody have an even happier dinner. And we appreciate you for joining us.
Yeah, always. Y'all keep doing your thing.
Appreciate you, Herm.
That's the man right there.
I'll make sure to get that link both in the bio and the chat. Shout out to Herman Moore for joining us.
Legend, man. That's crazy. It's crazy.
I love getting to talk to Herman more. And again, I could just talk his ear off all day.
Yeah, you talk to him we could do the rest of the show. It's just amazing to have that kind of resource. A legend in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
Top 2 receiver in franchise history. And we have just talking to him, picking his brains about a great win. It's just amazing. It's an amazing thing.
You guys support Herman, what he's got going on currently. Make sure you go to Herman and Low. It's also Lomas. Make sure you guys order some of those Drinking Kool-Aid's 90 shirts.
2 of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to as well.
Cups.
Herman and Lomas, 2 fantastic human beings.